Hey, welcome, Good Enough Parent, to this special video in our YouTube channel. It's the still face experiment. Look, you can find other versions on YouTube. I recommend you watching the longer versions, Spanish versions, whatever rocks your boat. We found this one. It's about the right size. We're going to provide it to you. Make sure you press the subscribe button below so that you'll be notified when new videos are posted. We're trying to do that weekly. All right, we want you to watch the still face experiment, and believe me, from the very beginning, no shame, no judgment. The goal is not to show you this video to critique you as a parent or a caregiver. There have been no perfect parents. You've already messed it up. Only God's the perfect parent. So relax, watch the video to pick up ideas that can help you become a more good enough parent now. And we'll give you plenty of tips to help, okay? So if you know pregnant moms right now or couples with infants, please get this to them. How they respond to their child in the first couple of months, by the way, including the last trimester of pregnancy, how they deal with that child, how they attune with that child is critical for the well-being of their infant. So important. And that's why we're covering this, all right? So after you watch this video, listen to our Attachment Theory for Good Enough Parents video if you haven't already. Here's one researcher. The essential task of the first year of human life is the creation of a secure attachment bond of emotional communication between the infant and primary caregiver. There it is. That's your job, adult, is to feed your child, to take care of your child, and to attune with your child. Research suggests that learning how to communicate represents perhaps the most important developmental process to take place during infancy, said one researcher. Okay? So watch this video now.
Babies this young are extremely responsive to the emotions and the reactivity and the social interaction that they get from the world around them. This is something that we started studying 30, 40 years ago, when people didn't think that infants could engage in social interaction. In the still face experiment, what the mother did was she sits down and she's playing with her baby who's about a year of age.
I'm like a girl. Oh.
And she gives a greeting to the baby gives a greeting back to her.
Yeah.
This baby starts pointing at different places in the world, and the mother's trying to engage her and play with her. They're working to coordinate their emotions and their intentions, what they want to do in the world. And that's really what the baby is used to. And then we ask the mother to not respond to the baby. The baby very quickly picks up on this, and then she uses all of her abilities to try and get the mother back. She smiles at the mother. She points because she's used to the mother looking where she points. The baby puts both hands up in front of her and says, "What's happening here?" She makes that screechy sound at the mother, like, come on, why aren't we doing this? Even in this 2 minutes, when they don't get the normal reaction, they react with negative emotions, they turn away, they feel the stress of it, they actually may lose control of their posture because of the stress that they're experiencing.
Okay. I'm here. And what are you doing? Oh, yes. Oh, what a big girl.
It's a little like the good, the bad, and the ugly. The good is that normal stuff that goes on, that we all do with our kids. The bad is when something bad happens, but the infant can overcome it. After all, when you stop the still face, the mother and the baby start to play again. The ugly is when you don't give the child any chance to get back to the good. There's no reparation, and they're stuck in that really ugly.
So I said this on the attachment theory for Good Enough Parent video, but it's worth repeating here. All the child wanted to see in her mother's face was that she was special, worth the mother's time and energy. And it was no doubt largely subconscious, very powerful. At the beginning, she could see her worth in her mother's face, even her mother's eyes. She felt something external to herself that freed her, that made her smile and laugh and play and connect, made her feel safe. But when her mother's face went blank, the infant immediately changed subconsciously. She couldn't help it. In her mother's eyes, she didn't find her identity, her value, her security. She didn't feel noticed. She didn't feel appreciated or loved. What kicked in subconsciously was this. She couldn't rest or play or smile or laugh or be herself. She couldn't be creative. She became entirely stressed out, overwhelmed, anxious, troubled, frightened even. Right? She desperately had to find that gaze again, even looking around at the camera person, a total stranger, to get that hit, to get that gaze, to get that measurement. Think of your toddler. Think of your adolescent. Think of your teenager. Think of your adult child. By the way, how about you? There's a lot of emotional energy to fix those things when they're not there. Then the mom's favorable and loving gaze returned. And did you notice how fast? The infant went back to being a joyful, loving, playful, secure child. And we don't outgrow that subconscious need for being and feeling worthy in the measure and gaze of others. Right? So worth this, right? The still face experiment should be required watching for all parents and caregivers. And again, no judgment, no perfect parent. But this can explain some things for our children and ourselves. I used it, like I said, in marriage counseling. Very effective tool to explain how husbands and wives and partners subconsciously respond to things the partner even doesn't say. This is us in our families. This is us in all of our relationships, our relationships at work, our careers, our businesses, our relationship with God, worship, prayer. We're looking for that quality of acceptance in the gaze of others. And when we don't get it, we become stressed out to one degree or another, and anxious and fearful and lonely. Psychiatrists talk about our ability or lack of ability to emotionally regulate. So there's a lot of energy within us to find that benevolent and favorable gaze somewhere, anywhere. I mean, identities, sex, sexuality, relationships, jobs, emotions, worship. And when we don't get it, there's a deep subconscious, one person said, a nagging murmur of discontent. And if it's unaddressed, it will change us. People will notice. It changes who we are, changes the nature of our search for identity, sexuality, relationships, satisfaction, joy, happiness. Nothing is more important to us than whether or not we are in that immediate life-giving or life-taking gaze. If we felt that life-giving gaze more often, we would be, like the baby, happier, more confident, playful, vulnerable, creative, more you, more like yourself. You could love others at a far deeper level and freer. On the other hand, if you have been deprived of that benevolent gaze from others or from God, or you feel like you have, you're going to be very different. And the difference will be noticeable. One famous child psychologist, Yuri Bronfenbrenner, put it this way, but it applies to adults as well. Every child needs at least one adult who is irrationally crazy about him or her. Me too. Today, yesterday, tomorrow. So yeah, my parents, my children, my spouse, my peers, my friends, God. You know, if I really felt God's benevolent gaze today on me right now, can you imagine, based upon what you've just watched, how you would feel towards God in response and to others around you if God was in spiritual attunement to you? So many of we Christians believe that God has gone still-faced. That's how it feels. We don't want to talk about it. We don't want to admit it. But, in those still dark moments, we kind of think it. We're going to say more. But if you're a Christian and your child's a Christian, you have the Holy Spirit. And the passion of the Spirit is to make you and your child experience, feel, to know the height and width and length and depth of the love of Christ for you right now. More than just checking a box. So check out the video, Ephesians 3 for GEPers. We will dig into this a lot more. It's a skill that you can do every day. You can read Ephesians 3, 14 to 21 ahead of time. Check it out. Paul seems to buy into this. Very sophisticated for Paul, by the way. You'll see. And also read the Simple Uncluttered Gospel for GEPers aloud twice a day. Check the video in our channel. Do it twice a day for 30 days. And listen, it'll help rewire some of the twisted stuff in there. Not your fault. Not all your fault. You're preaching the gospel to that unreached people group, your midbrain, and its critical inner voice. And you can get that prayer in bookmark form from our website, gospelapp.com. Put them all over your house and hand them out to friends. We'll also tell you more about prayers that your child can be saying to start rewiring their critical inner voice. So check out the Prayers for Children videos. We'll be adding more as we go along weekly. So please make sure you subscribe to our channel by hitting the button below. Share this with your friends who are struggling to be more good enough parents. That would be all of them. We can do this. We can do this better. 3 out of 10 attuning interactions with your child. Let us know how this has hit you. Was it helpful? Do you buy it? What are you feeling? Are you encouraged, discouraged? Bill@gospel-app.com. We love hearing from you. Please, if you haven't already done it, consider going through the free online program, goodenoughparent.online. Goodenoughparent, one word, .online. Totally free. Still, no charge. That may change in the future, but it is free as of this video. Participants get a short biblical parent tip every day for 15 days. Simple to sign up, easy to use. We've made it it's sophisticated, don't get me wrong. It's got attachment theory and neuroscience. It's immersed in the gospel, but very, very simple. The stuff that in your context you can take and run with. You'll benefit, and so will your child. You ready? Take heart, child of God.